Hi all, this is Sean from Time and Talk. So today I thought I'd make a video about the fact that I've sold a couple of watches and I have around £400 to £500, and I thought I would make a video about what watch someone should buy if they have around that amount of money. So I imagine quite a lot of people spend around that budget on watches, and I'm interested in what you guys think is the best watch for around £400 to £500. I mean, just one piece, so not buy a bunch of watches for £500, just one watch. And I'll tell you in this video what kind of brands I recommend and what particular models I like. So I'll obviously tell you what I may or may not buy with this money that I've accrued from selling other things. So first of all, I think the favourite at the moment in terms of what I will buy is the Lip Nautic Ski. You may or may not have seen this. I'll put a picture on the screen. Basically, it's a compressor diver from the 60s, or it's inspired by a model from the 60s, and it's about £400, about €500, something like that. You get slight discounts on it. It's 38 millimeters. It's a cool looking watch. The first time I ever saw it, I remember seeing it and thinking, "Wow, that's amazing!" And I almost bought it at the time, but I happened not to. And I've got the opportunity now, so I think I might buy that one. The only thing is, I think if I change my mind, I am someone who flips quite a lot of watches. So if I change my mind, I do worry that I might find it difficult to sell. Another thing is it's 38 millimeters and it's 15 millimeters thick. So it's I don't know whether that thickness is too much. If anyone owns one of those, hit me in the comments and tell me what it's like, because I'm really, really interested to know. Another brand or type of watch that I'm really interested in around this price range of £400 to £500 is Seiko. I think, to be honest, I would struggle to think of an example of something else other than the Seiko if I was going for that sort of budget. What I would probably go for if I had a little bit more money is the SPB range. So the SPB 147J1, which is about £900, so I can't really justify that. But 40mm dive watch, kind of inspired by the 62 Mass, awesome watch, brilliant. Um, Others for around the £400 to £500, the Samurai, again a brilliant watch. The Saab 17, the Alpinist, the Saab 35, brilliant watches that I really think if you have got £400 to £500, I don't think you could go wrong with those watches, and I think they could be your only watch, and you could treasure that watch forever and be really proud to wear it. So I think they're brilliant. I think another brand that is really good for around this price range is Tissot. So I've got a Tissot Auto 3. I've made a video on it, and check it out on my channel if you're interested. But that's around £400. You can get discounts on it because um, you never pay retail for it. But an ETA movement, a really solid ETA movement, you know, decent watch that's made by a reputable company, and again, you can be proud to wear it, and it fit pretty much any occasion, that watch as well. I think they've started making the Sea Star Diver. Again, I think it's a little bit big for me, but I really like that watch for around the 400 to 500. I think it's slightly more expensive than that, to be honest. Another thing that I've considered recently for around this price range is Brew. I'm not sure if you've ever come across this brand of watches, but basically they're an American company, a micro brand, and it's based on the idea that of timing coffee. So they're called Brew because they're inspired by coffee making and old coffee machines and things like that. The latest release is called the Retromatic, and I think it's the first automatic watch that they've made. And it's a really cool looking watch. It's a square case with a metal bracelet, quite retro looking, kind of suits my style. I think that's around about $400. So that's something that I have considered, though it's probably one of the outsiders. Another brand that I've considered for around this price range is called Merci. Again, a French brand. I really like French things and French culture and things like that. So if a brand's French, I tend to look at it with more interest than if it's from another country. And this brand. Mercy is a shop in Paris, and it's kind of like a hipster shop where you can buy all little cool things. And a few years ago, they released a watch as well, and it's kind of like a field watch, and you can get a quartz version and a mechanical version, and I think they're around 38 millimeters. Probably the mechanical version is slightly overpriced, to be honest, as is the quartz, but they are cool watches. I think the French president Emmanuel Macron wears one, and I just like the fact that they're French, and I like the field watch vibe. I like the slightly smaller case and things like that, because that's something my taste tends to be 35 to 40 millimeter, kind of quite conservative, classic style watches, and I kind of don't deviate very much from outside those parameters, to be honest, which is maybe a bad thing, but I've got a taste, and I stick to it. I don't even do it deliberately, to be honest. I do buy watches from outside those parameters and then end up selling them, so I guess it's just one of those things. There are other things that for this price range I would look out for. I actually like vintage is another thing that you could do. Vintage Omega, vintage Longines, vintage Zenith, and things like that at around this price range would be something I would definitely consider. And real value in terms of a vintage watch compared to the price that you would pay for perhaps an Omega, perhaps a Longines. Other brands that I would consider at this price point as well, things like Citizen. I think Citizen 400 to 500. I've never paid that much for a Citizen watch, to be honest, but I would consider it because I love their other pieces. The ProMaster Tough that I have is a really, really good watch, and that was £300, 299 I think it was. But I've never paid above that for a Citizen. I've also checked out watches such as Baltic. I'm not sure if you've seen that brand before, but I think they're a French brand as well, and they make a really nice chronograph, quite a nice dive watch, and pretty cool watches for the price. I think they have the seagull movement in it, so perhaps you're paying more for the brand and for the design and things like that than for the actual quality of the watch. But I still think at the price they're a decent watch, and it's something I'd consider. Another watch for around £400 to £500 would be probably slightly more expensive now, and the prices of these have really gone up over the last few years, partially as a result of, I imagine, TGV and the Urban Gentry reviewing them, the Squale 1521, which is a really cool watch. I know that it's a little bit divisive, but I think it's really, really cool. It wears really, really well. I like the kind of classic style, 42 millimeter, so it's outside of those parameters that I just said that I like. But I do think that's a great watch, and I would definitely consider owning that. Another slightly different one is the Tag 2000. I'm not a massive fan of Tag or anything. I do like some of their models, the Aqua Racer, for example, way above this price point. But the 2000, it's a watch that was made from the 80s and 90s, and I think they discontinued it, and it became the Aqua Racer. But the 2000 has always been for me a really classic, kind of classy watch. They're often around 38 millimeters, and they do a quartz and auto version, and you can pick them up on eBay for cheaper than this, to be honest. But whenever I've seen them on someone's wrist, I've always thought it was a really nice do everything watch. A watch that you could pretty much wear in any occasion because the size is decent, and also just one that looks really tasteful, really tastefully done. I know Tag have made some really, really monstrous watches over the years. Thinking about those Formula Ones from the 90s that look like kids' watches or toy watches, but these are really, really nice, and they've patinaed over time and things like that, which makes them a little bit more interesting. And because tags don't hold their value at all, you can get them for a couple of £100, maybe 300, and they have a bunch of dial colours and things like that. So just a brief ramble, really, given the fact that I'm probably going to be buying another watch in the next couple of weeks, and it's going to be around £400 to £500. So I thought I'd share some of the things that I'm thinking about, and also some of the watches that I would buy if I had that budget for a watch. I'm really interested to hear your comments on what you would buy if you had £400 to £500 to spend on a watch. I think that sort of budget is, if there's lots and lots of things that you could buy for that money, and for less than that, but I'm thinking of one piece for around that price. But also it is quite challenging because you're not yet into the budget where you would get mega quality for your money, so you've got to choose quite wisely. I think even when it comes down to the Lip Nautic ski, which I probably will end up buying, that's got a Miyota movement, so it's nothing special. It's got some weaknesses to it, and it isn't cheap, because £400 to £500 is quite a lot of money, even though it's less money than it used to be in buying watches. But anyway, yeah, so tell me what you would buy if you had that budget, and tell me some things that you think I've never heard of, because I really like learning about new watches and new brands and things like that. So if you like this video, please subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Thank you.